to learn. Um, it was, I think it was June last year that we did it, and in July I started a new job, even though I got it before then. So but it was good, a good feeling to start a new job with that information. It helped kickstart my new office. So it was really good. So I want you to have an open heart as you have come, even if you're speaking or you're going to be part of the panel. I want you to have an open heart to receive the people that we are inviting to speak or have a combined experience of more than 30 years. So if you look at it like that, you would understand how important it is to learn. There was one experience that someone shared. I don't want to mention name, and I've thought about it since then. They said after 7 years or 8 years in the UK, they already crossed the 150K line. I still have that number in my head after a year, so so you know that I'm serious. So I'm using that as a benchmark. Not like I'll feel too bad if I don't meet it, but I'm just using that as a goal for me. Like in 7 years in the UK, I want to cross 150K if I'm still in employment. If I decide to go contractor, that would still be relevant. But like you have something you're working. If you just see yourself in the middle, you won't really see something that will push you. Maybe you started from 40K and you're looking at 60K as one big money. I said I should go on a stage because they are streaming. Thank you. There's no secret in this place, so nobody's going to whisper. If you whisper, we say it out. So mind what you're saying. All right. So that's helped my mindset to benchmark my expectations. Like it's possible to come in the UK, spend 7 years, and end up to 150K. So you might get lost in the middle, like I was saying. You start from 40K or 50K, and you're looking at 60K as if I start earning 60K like this, all my problem will finish. No. Let me just tell you that one out. No, it won't. Even 150, you still, as as you earn more, you spend more. That's the truth. Your taste would increase. You start looking at the car you're driving like, I think I should drive something more fancy. I don't think I should be using a car less than 5 years. You start giving yourself some expectation and standards. So, as part of what you're going to take out this whole period, have an expectation. One, maybe share that my expectation as well. If you are not already earning 150, that after 7 years, for people that are coming from abroad, really, but if you have been here all your life, you can also still have that expectation from when you started working to 7 years. So you can have that expectation. So that's my plan. In 7 years, I want to be earning at least 150K. That's the plan. It can be more. Yeah, work towards that. So let's share that expectation. So what can you do to achieve that? If you decide to want to get 150 in 7 years, how do you do that? I will share my own personal experience. Maybe that would help someone. So what I do, what I have done in the last 5 years, I've changed job two times. So it means I've worked for 3 different employers. And every time I moved, I get like 10K increase. So and I moved like after 2 years. So Every 2 years I move. I have a plan to be promoted in 3 years. That's my own personal plan. So, and my profession has levels. So you have associate, you have senior, assistant manager, manager, senior manager, director, and partner. That's how we have it. So every 3 years, I want to move to the next level. And what I found is, if you move to the next level in the same firm, the difference might just be around 5K. But if you change firms and you negotiate, you can get at least 10K. So if I've done that for the last 5 years and I want to achieve 150, it means I need to get like renegotiate when I'm moving. I need to change job like twice. I don't want to give you exact numbers, but you get the point. So I need to change like twice and negotiate. So how do you negotiate? When I was getting into my current job, the salary was a particular number. And I told them, because I dazzled them in the interview. Not because I'm that good, but because I know what the expectation is. So I've done my research. When you do your research, you have the advantage of giving your number. So they had a range. They say, okay, we'll give you this to this. Then when they offered, they said, we'll give you this. Like, but you said this to this. Why? We should start from the top. Why will you start from the beginning? Say, they give new senior managers this. Say, I'm experienced. See where I'm coming from. Talk. I say, okay, we need to escalate. We need to go to someone else to approve. I say, do what you need to do. This is what I want. So what that does for me, I can see that our anchor is already here, so we'll start shortly. What that does for me is, if you have been in the UK for a while, you know that every year they make some adjustments in your pay. They call it inflationary adjustments. But sometimes the increase is really small. That it can't take you home. the take home cannot take you home with the increase. So I don't bother with that because I have my own plan. So that you don't get angry at your employer because you put 1K as your inflationary adjustment and you're like, what's going on here? So I don't let that bother me because I have my own plan. So in 3 years, I want to move. And if that's not working where I am, I take a move. Now, why that might look like a good strategy, it might not always be applicable to everyone, especially because we are Christians and we expect to hear from God before making some decisions. So don't take that away. Don't have your own plan without checking with the master plan. That is very important, okay? At this junction, I will take a pause and invite our anchor to do the introduction for our high table speakers today. We have 4 speakers. I've worked with one of them directly, and I can tell that they are good resource and capable resources that are going to be speaking to us tonight. The others, I haven't had the opportunity to work with them, but from what I hear, they are high-class people in their office. So expect to hear from people that are doing excellently well with years of experience, and they know their earnings. And we have brought people from different background in healthcare and in business, in consulting, and what have you. So set expectations high. What we're going to be sharing will be valuable to you. Please, let's put our hands together as welcome Sister Mo. Keep clapping, keep clapping. Sister Mo is our chief anchor in our church. If you are looking for the chiefest of all the anchors, is Sister Mo. She's good at what she does. She carries the flow. She carries everybody along. If she starts, we might not close by 8:30 today because she's that good. Thank you, Sister Mo, for coming tonight. Thank you. So I'll let you.
Praise the Lord. Oh, yes, my voice. Okay, thank you for that warm welcome. I really respect Minister Ephraim for what he's doing. And he's inspired me in so many ways in terms of my career, in terms of my own personal ambitions. So I thank God for what he's using him for. Right, how are we going to do it this evening then? We have some wonderful panel, but I also appreciate that this is a very small and intimate group. And I want to ensure that we all get the best out of it. So I'm going to need you to help me because we're all going to learn together. I believe we all carry something different in all of us, and we can all enrich each other. I want to learn from you, and I hope that you're going to be able to learn from me as well. But first of all, thank you for making it here today. I'm going to be inviting some wonderful people up onto the stage to help us with this panel session. Two of them I've actually not worked with, but I've done a podcast with previously, and I know how experienced and grounded they are in their industry. And there's a special lady that she's joining us for the first time. And I spoke to her about our career and our expectations for today. My mind was blown. I was just like, I need to hear from her as well. So first of all, I'm going to be a bit partial. Please help me welcome Sister Shade. Let's give her... Let's keep clapping for her. Thank you for coming. And then I'm going to also introduce this, should I say man of God or brother of God? Son of God, thank you for that. The first time I saw him, I just saw his aura and his passion for what he's doing. And I'm always drawn to people that are very intelligent. I just want to find out more. I want to know more about them. So please help me in welcoming our director, Mr. Brother, man of God, Brother Emmanuel. Please come up on stage. Again, this is going to be an intimate evening. I appreciate that there isn't that many of us, but please bear with us. And finally, I think we're only going to have three anchors today, three panel members today, including myself. And then finally, I'm going to be welcoming. When I saw this person, I have to give the story of the first day I saw him. He came to church. I think it was probably his third or his fourth week. And I said, oh, hello, how are you? What do you do? And he was so proud of himself. There was this natural pride that came from what he's doing without being arrogant. And the way that someone can carry that, it really inspires me to be proud of who I am, what I'm doing. And then I heard him open his mouth, and everything that flowed out of there was just intelligence, wisdom. So please join me in welcoming Brother Goke. Please keep clapping. Right. And then finally, I have one more. Oh yeah, we got 4 people. I've got one more person. Sister Melanie is not able to join us this evening, but I'm hoping that at some point she might drop in. And finally, I want to welcome. I like to talk about the first time I met someone, but I can't really remember the first time I met this person because I met this person virtually via their own podcast. That was how I first knew about them before I even met them. And one thing that's really struck me about this brother when I met him was his passion to pass on wisdom to other people and being able to do that selflessly. And, it's not a lot of people. Some people want to make money when they're passing this information. But the way that he spoke to his audience, I just knew that there was something special about him in terms of his ability to actually share wisdom, to share information, and to do that in such a way that people can relate to and that can help people directly and breaking down information. So on that note, I'd like to welcome Brother Solomon. Thank you so much. this feels like a very formal setting, and we're welcoming and we're clapping, but I want it to be a very relaxed environment because, like I said, and I keep emphasizing, I want us to learn from each other. So first of all, I would like to go to the panel members and just, tell us about yourself and what you do. It's a three-loaded question. Tell us about yourself, your name, what you do, and what you enjoy about your job, because this is a career summit. So I know Sister Shade is looking at me, so I'm going to go to her first. Over to you.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay, it's just a bit low. So my name is Shade. I am in consulting. So my official role is a human capital consultant. I work at Deloitte, and I've been there for 3 years now. I started in July 2021. My background is in HR and learning and development, but I made the shift to consulting because I wanted to be, I felt like HR and L&D was a bit mundane. I wanted a bit more of a challenge, and I wanted to really work in the business and really see how things are done in a business setting. So that's what made me shift to consulting. What I love about my job.
What do you enjoy about your current job?
I enjoy working. I am a people person. I'm an extrovert. So I think what I enjoy about it is just working with lots of different personalities. I work on different projects. I can work on maybe 3-4 projects a year. And you just get to work with different types of people, different companies. So yeah, I just enjoy that challenge, meeting people and just, building that rapport, because that's very important in consulting.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. And over to you, Brother Emmanuel.
Good evening, everyone. You said, what do we love about our job?
Introduce yourself, what you do, and what do you enjoy about your current role?
So I want to start by, what if you do not enjoy?
What if you do not enjoy it? We'll come to that, because that's a very good question. That's a very good question, so we come to that.
Okay. So my name is Emmanuel. So what I do, pretty much you can classify it under project management, so agile project management. So I'm currently a delivery manager working with the Intellectual Property Office. So pretty much managing intellectual property rights within the UK, everything from patents, design, trademarks, and the likes, and making sure that the systems that are needed to deliver those rights to people in the UK are active and functional, and and improving on those systems going
Projects
forward.
management, I like that. And you've explained a lot of that. What do you enjoy? What do you like the most about the job at the moment?
Okay, so that's the part, right?
Yeah.
Okay. No, so I think the primary thing for me is the fact that it is people. Even though we think of projects or even products, so in my line of work, there's a lot of product management and the likes. It's pretty much about serving people, right? So it's working with people to serve other people. So a lot of it for me is also about managing, I don't want to say managing the team. It's more about helping improve the team to improve what they're going to
Improve
deliver.
the team to improve what they need to deliver. Okay.
So you're on one hand is working with people internally, but it's also delivering for people externally. So we do work with a lot of what we call delivery partners as well.
Okay.
Some of the big consultants, right?
Yeah.
So we get to see them in the field. So it's managing that relationship with people. I would say that's the good part for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. We'll come back to some of the other good parts. I'll go over to you, Brother Solomon.
All right. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Right. My name is Solomon, and at the moment I work in a split role, and in rheumatology as a clinical nurse specialist, and I also work in research.
Okay.
So, like 3 days in clinic, 2 days in research. So it's like that. What I like about the job, a lot of things actually.
Oh wow. Okay. Someone is proud of their job, enjoying their job.
The reason I moved actually, because when I came into the UK, I was working on the ward, and it was good. I mean, I was working on the stroke ward. It was a good experience. And then at some point, I was like, I needed some more autonomy. Like, there's a lot of dependence on the doctor to do a lot of things on the ward.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do more, essentially.
Mm.
And the way the ward works, they wouldn't let you do all of those
Okay.
things, yeah. So I had to move into a specialist role.
When you say autonomy, do you mean a little bit of stretching yourself as well in terms
Exactly.
of what you can do?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I went like to like talk to the patient myself,
Yeah.
like do the prescription and things like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So and at the same time, I think I loved how research nurses were working then
Yeah.
in the ward. Again, that's one thing. The other thing I actually love is the time I have now to do other things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, work-life balance, very important, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So of course I do a lot of other things now.
Mm.
So I don't know. You could consider that as work
Like
as
a
well.
podcast as well.
Yeah, podcasts, other things that I want to do.
Yeah.
My personal passion that I can do. But working on the ward didn't, give me that much allowance.
Mm.
Like you had to do night shift. From
Yeah,
night shift you go
yeah.
back to day shift. It was just messing my head. So now I just work like regular hours, and
Yeah.
that's been good.
Good. So the flexibility that it gives you, enjoy that. Enjoy the opportunity to
Correct.
have a little bit more autonomy.
Yeah.
Very helpful. Thank you. And over to you, Rag. Okay. I like the way you always.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Goki. I work with Ernst & Young, currently an audit manager based in Southampton office. I think what I like about my job is the variety it gives me. I could work on 7, 8 clients in a year. None of them are the same. Each poses a different challenge where you have to make do of, all the methodology and how it works. And in addition to that, it's not just audits. By virtue of my role, I'm involved with other things in the office, like
Yeah.
L&D, where you get to upskill people and do a bit of training. So it's the dynamism that comes with it. That's what I like about the job.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you all for that introduction. And I feel like I should also introduce myself and what I do. There's a bit of pressure here, So I work as a procurement manager, and I've been doing this for about 14 years now. So I've been in the supply chain and procurement landscape. In terms of my job, what do I enjoy about it? There's never 2 days that are the same. So I deal with, I think at the moment, actually, if I'm being specific, I am working on a project that is about 300 million, and that's a lot of money, and I'm proud of it. And I'm beating my chest and saying, yeah, I'm leading on that. So that's the part that I'm really enjoying at the moment, is just working with a lot of consultants, actually, and everything I've ever done in my life, I always like to see a human aspect to it, who is being affected by what I'm doing. And that has always been what leads me to what I need to do. So that's just a little bit about me. Thank you for that panel. So the topic that we're going to be discussing this evening is navigating career challenges in today's world. That's the theme of our career session and this evening. But before we go into that, we got probably about 40 minutes. I just want to know, first of all, I think I'll go to Brother Solomon. What drove you, or what interested you to your current career? How did you know that you wanted to go into what you're doing now? Yeah, into nursing, if you want us to be specific.
It's a long story.
Okay, give us a short version of that story. Because a lot of people that will be watching this as well, and for some of us that we also have children, is about how do you identify what you need to do? When does it start?
Well, for me, really, I actually fell in love with biology specifically.
Yeah.
Before then, I was a maths person. I wanted
Okay.
mathematics, just mathematics.
Yeah.
But somehow, one of our tutors then kind of brought this whole thing about biology, and I just fell in love with it. I was like, okay, where can this lead me? Either I go in the way of science, or become
Yeah.
a scientist, or there's healthcare, being a doctor, and all that. I actually wanted to be a doctor before, and to be honest, I made my applications back in Nigeria for medicine, but it didn't go through. but the nursing just, I don't know, it was so easy. And the way that nursing thing works was really competitive. So I still, till today, I don't know how I got in.
Yeah, grace of
without
God.
knowing anybody in that place.
Yeah.
And it's in the capital of Nigeria, Abuja. And
Yeah.
I mean, my state alone, the day we had the exam, we were over 200.
Wow.
And we were told they were only going to pick 3 people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, they said 2, but they ended up picking 3 people.
Very competitive. Wow.
It's very competitive.
Oh, yeah.
And the reason for that was it's more or less like schooling on scholarship,
Yeah.
because we were paid as students.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh
Yes.
wow. Okay. What year was this? It feels like it's in the 50s or something.
Yeah, this was like 2015.
Oh wow. I've never heard that before. Okay.
I don't think so.
Question, but I'm gonna have to change that ever so slightly. What about you at the moment? What in your job? What in your job at the moment brings out the best in you?
Wow, I like that question.
The money is always good because sometimes we need to connect our personalities to the jobs that we're doing. You know, like Brad Solomon has said that his interest was in biology, and then that led him to something else. But just reflecting on the role that you're doing at the moment, what about that job brings out the best in you?
So, like I said, I'm very much a people person. I really enjoy bringing people together, identifying strengths in people, and learning how to make that work with different personalities. And consulting is exactly that. Consulting is you're working with different people on each project. So you have to understand, okay, this person is strong at presenting, this person is strong at numbers.
Yeah.
How can we make that work?
Yeah.
The same thing with your client. You need to figure out, because you have partners on the client side who you work with. So you need to understand, okay, what's this kind of personality like? You get some very difficult personalities, and you also get some very laid back and in the middle. So I think what brings out the best in me in my current role is, just the people, the teams, working with teams. I've had the opportunity to lead certain teams when I'm working on like internal, fun projects. And that really, I just enjoy that, because I enjoy getting to the end result, but also just watching people develop, mentoring people, and watching them actually take the advice and come back to say, wow, actually that really helped me. So just bringing out the best in people. And what I really particularly like is, like in certain meetings, in a certain group setting, some people are just a lot quieter than others. And it's not because they don't have anything to say. Maybe they're just very introverted or they're shy.
Yeah,
but
hello, me.
Yeah, sometimes I like calling out those people and be like, Shade, what's your opinion? So-and-so, what's your opinion? What do you think? And you see people light up, like you see them feel valued. And I think that's just what I like. I love the fact
And I see the way your face is lighting up as you're saying that, as you're talking about how you bring out the best in people and how you like working with people. I know you're expecting me to ask you the same question about, what interests you about your job. I just want to build up on what Sister Shade said in terms of, seeing people flourish, bringing out the best in people. And I want to go to Brother Emmanuel as a delivery manager. You mentioned about how you have to work with products and you have to work with people. What key skills have you had to develop during your time of, in your current role?
I think one major one for me that I think...
And how did you develop it, by the way? That's the killer question.
This now sounds like interview.
Literally stop. No, because sometimes when we listen to some of these things, we start to reflect on our own experience, like, you know, like the people skills like Sister Shade has got. So I think it's important to really drill in terms of what skills. You know, some people want to be delivery managers, and they may not have those skills now. How can you develop it?
So I think I'll pick one.
Okay. Thank you for picking one.
Or as we go along, depending. I'm sure there are certain ones that would still come out. But one key one that I would say, and it also comes out from what Shadi mentioned, is communication.
Yeah.
The thing is, prior to even becoming a delivery manager, from my previous role and stuff, you might think that you're good at communicating, right? But you'll find that there is room for improvement, especially when it comes to communication, both written and oral communication. But apart from even that one, it's more of being able to listen to what's not being said. So just like what Shadi was mentioning, the ability to be able to look within, I'll say across stakeholders, and understand this person can contribute but is holding back, right? Is part of the whole communication process. I feel communication is a key skill because you get to start, and for me, one of the things it has helped me with is you get to understand that there are different levels of stakeholders, right? There are those that you need to carry along with things, with decisions. There are those that you need to just keep informed, right? There are those that literally, without the whole thing, without them in the whole mix, it could fail, right? So being able to identify that and tailoring your communication and the level of information to those people is quite important. Because if you look at it, someone who is like a senior stakeholder, maybe the senior responsible owner for a project, right, or for a product. So for those who don't know, that is someone who the buck stops with him. Everything. That's where
they can say no. We're no longer going ahead with this project.
If it fails, it comes down to them. They might not be involved with the detail, everyday detail. But they need to know what's happening so they can make strategic decisions, right? So you must be able to pick out the key elements that they need to know, summarize it, and give it to them when they need it, right? But still take that same kind of information, expand upon it for the people that are delivering the work itself, right? So it's being able to communicate succinctly and also taking that same bit of information and going in depth to make sure that the work is properly delivered. So communication is one key one that I would say
Thank
is really
you for
important.
that. And I think it's really important to put that in a context as well, because although you've put it into a delivery manager context, I think regardless of where you go across the organization, be it in nursing, be it in accountancy, you know, be it in data management, what else, be it even in laws, in law firms, you have to be able to tailor information to different audiences and different stakeholders. And I think what you've said there about developing different approach and different strategies, I think that's really important. So thank you for sharing that with us. I just want to go to Ragoke, just in terms of, you know, we're talking about career, navigating career challenges, and we know that you are an accountant. What challenge do you think that you have faced in the past that you've had to overcome? And just relating that to maybe when you started in your career, just reflecting, what challenge did you have to overcome and how did you do that? I feel like I'm interviewing you.
Yeah, so there's two of them really. First is technical skills, then the second one is soft skills. Technical skills is easy to deal with because you just really had to learn and upskill yourself. In my field, you have to be chartered, you have to get these experiences. The more you do, the more you learn. So that was easy. I think the more difficult one was the soft skills. And that had to do with managing people.
Managing people.
Managing people, yeah. So as you rise up the ranks, it gets to the point where it's not about what you know. It's about how do you actually deliver results.
Through other people.
And you then need people to deliver these results. So thinking about that, one of the reasons why I then decided to do a second degree in HR just to learn how to get myself equipped with that.
Yep.
And then if I want to be practical with it then let's give an example in an office space. So this is you, brand new organization, you're put in a team, you have senior people you report to, you have junior colleagues you manage. How do you connect with them? It then goes back to personality styles.
Yeah.
So very quickly, you have 4 types of people. There's the driver,
Yeah.
there's the expressive person,
Yeah.
there's the amiable person, and there's the analytical person.
Have you been reading Surrounded by Idiots?
No.
Okay.
So you need to understand what social style each person falls under. You, like our background, where we come from, start with good morning, how are you, how's your day?
Yep.
I just want to find out this. You send that email. Then the person just responds back to you with just one liner straight to the point. And then you think he's upset with you. No, he's not.
To be honest with you, if my manager send me an email and say, just how are you, how was your weekend, I'll be suspicious that what do you want?
Exactly. so this kind of person,
It's a different context.
Yeah, he just wants the straight to the point, let's just get it done. It took me a long time to understand straight to the point. How and then you think he's upset with you. No, he's not. Knowledge.
To be honest with you, if my manager send me an email and say, just how are you, how was your weekend, I'll take your time, so what do you want?
Exactly. so this kind of person,
it's a different context.
Yeah, he just wants the straight to the point, let's just get it done. It took me a long time to understand straight to the point. How and then you think he's upset with you. No, he's not. Knowledge.
To be honest with you, if my manager send me an email and say, just how are you, I like that. Take your time, so what do you want?
Exactly. So this kind of person,
it's a different context.
Yeah, he just wants the straight to the point, let's just get it done. It took me a long time to understand straight to the point. How and then you think he's upset with you. No, he's not. Knowledge.
To be honest with you, if my manager send me an email and say, just how are you, I like that. Take your time, so what do you want?
Exactly. So this kind of person,
it's a different context.
Yeah, he just wants the straight to the point, let's just get it done. It took me a long time to understand how and you think he's upset with you. No, doubt. Knowledge.
If my manager sends me an email and it cuts across different industries, not just about, if you're working
Exactly.
in a corporate firm.
So this kind of person,
It's a different context.
Yeah, he just wants the straight to the point, let's just get it done. It took me a long time to understand how and you think he's upset with you. No, doubt. Knowledge.
If my manager sends me an email and it cuts across different industries, not just about, if you're working
Exactly.
in a corporate firm.
So this kind of person,
It's a different context.
Yeah, he just wants the straight to the point, let's just get it done. It took me a long time to understand how and you think he's upset with you. No, doubt. Knowledge.
If my manager sends me an email and it cuts across different industries, not just about, if you're working
Exactly.
in a corporate firm.
So this kind of person,
It's a different context.
Yeah, he just wants the straight to the point, let's just get it done. It took me a long time to understand how and you think he's upset with you. No, doubt. Knowledge.
If my manager sends me an email and it cuts across different industries, not just about, if you're working
Exactly.
in a corporate firm.
So this kind of person,
It's a different context.
Yeah, he just wants the straight to the point, let's just get it done. It took me a long time to understand how and you think he's upset with you. No, doubt. Knowledge.
Well, we know ourselves. So my manager and it cuts across different industries, not just about, if you're working
Exactly.
in a corporate firm.
So this kind of person,
It's a different context.
Yeah, he just wants the straight to the point, let's just get it done. It took me a long time to understand how and you think he's upset with you. No, doubt. Knowledge.
Well, we know ourselves. So my manager and it cuts across different industries, not just about, if you're working
Exactly.
in a corporate firm.
So this kind of person,
It's a different context.
yeah, he just wants
I think that's really, really important. I want to come to Brother Solomon about that cultural adjustment. because Brother Emmanuel said about, there's some people that they're quiet and they don't want to talk. There's some people, they know how to talk. And there's some people that are extroverts, like Sister Shade, that they're just buzzing on and they try to bring you in. I want to go to you because
I think I'm the quiet one.
I don't think you're the well, if you say you're the quiet one, but I think I'm trying to understand that how do you adjust in that kind of culture? Because there's also the need for visibility, and you may not get that when you're being on the quiet side. So because I know that you had a promotion and you're getting more promotion, how do you adjust your behavior to still be able to be visible?
To be honest,
culturally as well.
I wouldn't say it's easy to do, but again, I mean, like we all know, if you're in Rome, behave like the Romans.
Okay.
There's a reason for that quote. I mean, and in my context, it's very, very important.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to be stuck. And what I find is there are a lot of people who are coming into the NHS now, from Africa, for example. And we all know that where we are coming from, what we regard as respect, sometimes can be disrespectful here.
Oh, give us an example. We're going to need you to give us an example of that.
Right. The number of example, let me just say this one. There's something going around on it was Instagram or TikTok. Apparently somebody said she was let go of her job because she said, "I'm sorry" too many times.
Oh, okay.
Have you seen that? Yeah. And
really? Okay.
Yeah. I found it interesting that when I came here initially, about 4 years ago now, and when something happens to maybe Emmanuel hits his leg here,
say I'm sorry for that.
the Nigerian in me will tell you sorry. But I didn't cause it, so I shouldn't be saying sorry. You see that? Now this person went to see a patient, and I don't know what exactly happened, and she kept saying, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry." You understand? Because the manager who had sent her there to go see the patient was like querying what she did there. Why was she, well, I think the allegation was that she was sleeping, but she wasn't sleeping. Instead of her to explain herself, she was just saying, "I'm sorry." I'm sorry means that you accept responsibility for, for what has happened, but you were not sleeping. You should have said you were not sleeping. But she just said, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry." And they just gave her the
How do you
sack
blur that lines? Because in a way, that what you've just explained there, it feels to me like it could be bordering on assertiveness.
Yeah.
So how do you strengthen that muscle in you when it's not been traditionally something that, if you're being too assertive, you might be seen as being rude in our culture?
I do think that we need to read our environment.
We need to read it.
Read
our environment. Read the environment. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's something I did personally when I came in.
Yeah.
It's to learn from how other people were speaking in the hospital environment. For example, how the managers were relating to us.
Yeah.
So I put myself in the manager's shoes.
Yeah.
Like if the manager could talk like this to me and to every other person, I should be thinking like they are thinking, so that when I talk to my other colleagues, I'm talking
powerful.
from that level of, I also have that experience of what this manager is talking about, and talk in the same manner.
Yeah.
Not like I'm bringing my culture from where I'm coming from to more or less impose it on them, but they are more in number here than just me as a person. So I've got to learn the way of life here. As much as I want them to understand me. Yeah. Because there's something happening now within the hospital. And, well, my wife, she works in education. And they all get all of this information about, international students. As a student, international nurses that came into the NHS. And one thing we find is people don't learn quickly to adjust. Yeah. And it's becoming a problem.
Yeah, it's a cultural competence thing because, we are competent in our own culture. We know how to cook our jollof rice. We know how to be respectful. But when you then put us into a different environment, it's about, okay, what is the culture around here and how can we be competent in that culture?
We kind of have to evolve quickly.
Yeah, evolve quickly.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for that. Right, okay, I want to ask you, just moving on from, getting that, making sure that you are in the right environment and you're learning about that environment. I just want to just broaden out a little bit and just look at things around career transitions, because I know you went into HR, or not that you went into HR, you did your master's in HR because you wanted to learn about how to deal with human, I'm guessing, and then you moved into accountancy. So you started in accountancy, went to HR, and then went back into accountancy. What does that transition look like? And just zooming out as well, if someone is, say, they were electrical engineering and they want to go into accountancy, how can they get there?
So it depends on what you want really for yourself. So I would say for me, I was privileged because not everyone has the opportunity to decide on what they want to do at the second degree level. You just wanted something to either get by or to satisfy some other things. So I had the opportunity to choose. So it was like, so what is relevant for me in my career? What do I need at the higher ups? And what do I need to do for it? So which is why I'd always advise, when you get to a country like this, before you do a master's degree, first assess if that's really relevant for your industry. Does it help you at the later end before you just jump into it? But to answer your question, how was it? Well, it was scary because when you've been through accounting auditing for a while and then you leave all that to go back into school and then spend the whole year living all that, it felt like the world was moving ahead of me. It felt like I was a bit behind. It felt like I didn't really know what I thought I knew. So having done that, I then had two career paths. I could either go into HR consulting, because I knew what to do.
And you could have been Sister Shade's colleague.
Well, or I could just continue what I was doing. But I really liked what I was doing. So I decided to go back and just continue on that path. So it was scary. It was challenging. First semester, I literally didn't understand what I was being taught. But I had to read to actually, get it. And then,
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for that. And I think we've got about 10 minutes before we go into the next session. But I just want to touch on something that at the moment, I don't know if it's always been there, but I think at the moment there's a lot of buzzword around transformation. Before you know, the NHS is transforming because waiting lists are growing. Accountancy is transforming because public funds and money is rare. Delivery is transforming because IPO, data, everything. I want to go to Sister Shade and I know that's an area that you also specialize in. When an organization is transforming, how can we place ourselves in such a way that we move along with those changes? Tell us, first of all, what is transformation? Because I hear this a lot. What exactly is transformation? When a business say that we're going through a business transformation, what does that mean? Even from an HR perspective. Sack people.
And that's actually a challenge that we have to face as consultants, because a lot of people do associate transformation with restructuring, which means they're going to have to let some people go, which is why some people hate consultants coming into the organization.
Okay, bust that myth for us then.
But I think transformation means different things for different organizations, but at the essence of it, it's all about improving. They've seen a trend in the market, they've seen a need in the market, and they don't want to be left behind. For example, BlackBerry iPhone. BlackBerry was the number one phone back in the day, BBP and all of that. It was way bigger than iPhone. However, they did not have the the foresight to transform quickly enough to meet demand and to meet the growing trends. So that's why they've now failed and iPhone has taken over. Same things with all these organizations that we work with. They are seeing their competitors do things and they do not want to be left behind. For example, AI is a really big one. A lot of organizations, and I'm sure you've all heard of ChatGPT. A lot of organizations want to implement their own internal ChatGPT system. They're seeing their competitors do it. They don't want to be seen as, they're old school, they're, not, they're not as good, because that can affect how they're seen in the market. So we would be called in as consultants to help them to do this, to implement this new system, or to even create the strategy for them to be able to enable them to do this.
From a human perspective, from, some of us that will be working in those organizations, what can we do to prepare ourselves so that we are not left behind when that transformation is happening? Even in the NHS, I know that. Let go and left behind. There are opportunities when transformations happen. I'm just trying to understand that, because it can be a very apprehensive period when transformation is happening. So what can you do to stand in good stead of moving with the times?
So I would say remain curious. And what I mean by that is ask questions, ask your managers, what's happening, what are we seeing, if a transformation is being done, remain curious about it. If you're hearing different buzzwords, upskill in those areas if you feel like you need
I like
to.
that. Yeah.
Don't be left behind. And not being left behind starts by being curious, asking questions, even caring what's going on, not just kind of staying in your own little corner and staying in your team and being complacent and comfortable, because that's when, the likelihood of you being let go, sadly, may increase. Remain curious, upskill, and just see how you can get involved in things, make yourself useful. Like, for example, I've been on maternity leave for a whole year. Not saying my organization's doing any kind of transformation or whatever.
Yeah.
But I've known that a lot of our clients are now asking about generative AI.
Yeah.
And things like that. So I did a course on it, because I just thought, actually, I want to remain fresh. I want to remain valued in whatever area that I'm in. So that's what I would say.
Thank you for that. I know we're rounding up, so I'm going to ask some quick fire questions. Brother Emmanuel, this question I will usually ask a lady, but I'm hoping that you're going to be able to help us. There's this thing called imposter syndrome. I don't know, I'm not a man, so I don't know how men experience imposter syndrome. How can we overcome it within, especially, let's step out and not even think about men versus women. Culturally, there might be a perception of this imposter syndrome when we're trying to climb up the ladder as an, I won't say ethnic minority, but as a Nigerian. How do we overcome it?
Okay, so how do we overcome imposter syndrome? I think first we need to understand, looking at imposter syndrome, right, is you feeling like you are not worth the thing that is actually being given to you, right? And at the base level, before anything else, you need to address why that is. Whatever is making you feel as though you are not qualified or you're not worth what it is that is being given to you.
Yeah.
Right? In addressing that, I think part of it is you need to give yourself some perspective. And perspective, especially in this country, I would say, is look around you.
Yeah.
You would probably find that there are people who have not done half of what you've done, that are probably in a higher position than you are, right? So give yourself some perspective and say that, if this person who doesn't really have what I have or what I've been through, can actually do this, then I should actually be worth this, right?
Yeah.
But also, the other parts to it is, I feel a lot of times what makes people scared or feel like they are not qualified in a particular area is when their knowledge is lacking in that area.
Yeah.
So you need to build your knowledge in a particular area. So if you think about it, if you're like you're a nurse, right? The fact that you spent a lot of time in that particular field makes you speak confidently about it.
Correct.
Right? When you feel like the time you feel like you do not belong is when probably there's some things,
some gaps you need to
gaps you need to fill, because it happens also when you want to. I've seen this with a few people. They want to go for a higher role, but they're like, I don't
meet the person criteria, or I don't think I'm ready.
Sometimes people say, I don't think it is for me.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. The question, who is it for? So build your knowledge base, address your perspective, address whatsoever bias that you're already coming with. leave where you came from, where it is. Do you get? Go forward to where it is that you're going to. If there's somewhere that you're seeing that you need to be, and there are some obvious gaps in between that, fill those gaps, just like Shadi said, right? Fill those gaps. Take on challenges. One of the other things is when you're unfamiliar with something, right, it's harder for you to actually ease into it. So some of the time, maybe it might be that you need to shadow someone, right? Or even volunteer for it. Sometimes even throw yourself in to lead the thing. Do you get? Because
even
those are
though
the
you're
time,
feeling scared and you're feeling I can't do this.
in fact, it's when you're feeling scared that you should even
go
for it, right?
Yeah. I see that, Brother Solomon, you're nodding and nodding and nodding. So I'm going to come to you in terms of, those moments when you need to shadow someone or you need someone to show you the way. What's the role of mentors in all of this, and how can you find them in a workplace?
Okay.
People that they've been through that road that can get you there quicker.
Right. So for me, when I was working on the ward, right, and I saw some of those research nurses, I was quite curious to know what they do.
Yeah.
It's one thing for you to like something from afar, but the closer you get, you really understand whether it's for you or not. So I went a bit closer to them, like to know what they're doing with the patient, how they're communicating with the patient. I'm like, I really like this kind of job. You work in your office, come to the ward, see the patient, do your blood test. Like, you don't need any external person telling you what exactly to do.
Yeah.
In that case, so I'm like, I can do this.
Yeah.
But the other side of my job, which is the clinic, it's a lot more autonomy because I have to face the patient, answer their questions.
Yeah.
So if they have 100 questions, you have to find a way to answer it. So that was the difficult part, really. And it took a while. Yeah. But the truth of the matter is, if you're not inside, you won't really know what your abilities are. Yeah. So what I tell people now is stretch yourself. Yeah. I was less than 2 years in the UK when I started applying for Band 6.
Wow.
And till date, I still tell people, your experience from Nigeria is not a waste. Yes. I see people who have 5 years, 6 years experience, 10 years in nursing back in Nigeria. They come here and they think their nursing starts here. Yeah. No. Yeah. Those 10 years, it's a lot. It's a lot. And what I found is we have new nurses who train here. Yeah. They're not training them really based on these nursing skills. Yeah. They're training them on leadership as well.
Yes, absolutely.
I see most of them come to the ward and they want to overshadow those of us who have been there. You understand? I see that a lot and I'm like, actually no. Yeah. No, I have years of experience from Nigeria as well.
So I know what I'm doing.
I know what I'm doing, right? I only came here to adapt into the system here. Yeah. But nursing is nursing essentially everywhere. It's just different skills you have to learn again here. But that's it. Push yourself. And with NHS, really, if you can't do the job, you can go back to your former one. Nobody is asking. That's my own experience. Like, if you go for a job, you get the position and you go in after the interview, of course, and they give you like 6-month probation or something, and you think, actually,
I don't think I can do it.
Do this thing. Go back.
And I think that's the right mindset. Yeah.
Just go back.
I will try and talk about that later as well. Okay, we're going to be rounding up, but just before we round up, and thank you for your time this evening. It's been an eye-opening conversation. I've really enjoyed some of the nuggets that you've given us in terms of self-development, in terms of upskilling yourself. But I just want to end with you, Bragoke, before I go to everyone else. Looking back on when you started your career, what advice would you give to your younger self?
The advice I would give to my younger self is, whatever is new, get ahead of it.
Okay.
Whatever is new in your industry, get ahead of it. If I look at most of the things that's given me an edge over my peers whilst I've started in Nigeria and here, it's because of the first mover advantage.
Competitive advantage. First mover advantage.
And it was literally that same mindset. I'll give you a practical example. So in audits, we have the digital side of it, which I had to do a bit of personal learning. One of the first things I did when I came here, I asked where that team was, and I joined them. And the rest is history. Now we've moved from digital, we're talking AI, just like Sister Shadi said. Gen AI, responsible AI, we're all over that one now. So just get ahead of it.
Get ahead of
Yeah.
the first mover advantage. Yeah. Okay, thank you for that. Brother Solomon? I know, it's good. It's a first mover advantage. Just looking back on when you first started your career, or even when you first came into the UK, what advice would you give your younger self from a career perspective?
Okay, my advice is to look at what career you are in and check what options are available to you. Like for me, in nursing, there is the option of going the way of leadership. There is the option of going the way of specializing.
Yeah.
And one of them will take you faster
Yeah.
than the other one.
Yeah.
You get that? And it depends on really what's the end game,
Yeah.
right? There are certain career choices you make, and it will get you stuck at a level.
Yeah.
You can't
Yeah.
go beyond that unless
Yeah.
you switch to a different path. So think about all of those things. If your idea is maybe to become in senior management
Yeah.
tomorrow,
Yeah.
then find out those people who are there, what did they do to get there, so that you can follow the same path.
Thank you. And same question to you,
Okay.
Emmanuel.
So mine is similar. What I would say is, as we know, change is constant,
Yeah.
right? So an advice to my younger self would be, don't be scared to pivot.
Okay.
There are things that, pivoting is being able to change direction. And when it comes to even the buzzwords around, one of the buzzwords is agility, right? Agility is being able to be flexible enough to change shape and direction. You should be able to apply that.
That sounds
to
like an
yourself.
architectural definition.
So,
Change to shape and direction.
yeah, no, well, we can look at it in different ways, right?
Okay.
But being able to do that and applying that to yourself is quite important. Don't be so rigid and define yourself by one thing that you start to miss the opportunities that are showing up. Just like he said, you're going in a particular way and you see there's an opportunity to switch, right? Branch off, right? If through your capabilities and everything that you know about yourself, you're able to actually make that jump, and if it is something that just needs, a knowledge increase here or there, right? Don't be scared to take that jump. If I'll just say it this way, someone once told me that there was a frog in a lake. It felt that the lake itself was everything that could ever be. But when the frog jumped, it landed in the ocean and saw that there was more to it.
Wow.
Right,
I
so-
like that analogy. I like that analogy. Wow, Sister Shade, come on, you've got to top that.
Honestly, I was really going to say similar to what everyone has said. Stay curious, stay learning.
Stay curious, stay learning.
And I guess I will just add, be confident in the workplace. Don't have, because I definitely used to have that, and I'm still very much early-ish in my career. But I would just say every room you're in, you belong there, and you're meant to be there, and you have value to add. So don't be intimidated. Be confident. If you have questions, ask. If you have contributions, also ask. Because a lot of the time, the questions you have, other people are thinking it as well. They might just be nervous to say it.
Yeah.
So be confident. Believe in yourself always, and ask questions. Everyone learns. Not everyone is a fountain of knowledge. Even the CEOs and the senior managers and directors,
They don't know
still
everything.
ask questions.
Yeah.
So that's what I
Thank you
would say.
so much. And today we've been discussing around the challenges of navigating, the challenges in navigating a career. And thank you to our panelists for your wisdom, for your contribution. I just want to go to the audience now. If anyone has any questions that you'd like to ask, I'll bring the microphone. Okay.
thank you very much for the for the wonderful session that we've just had. I just have this question is about my own career progression itself. So it's not so it's not it doesn't have to be Bro Solomon handstream, but this is like a decision making session. Something struck me when something similar Bro Goke said. He had to, like, he needed to do more, so he went for a course further. She did the same thing as well, even though she's a human resource officer or something, she still went ahead. Now, in my profession, I'm this kind of person that I love leadership, but I'm not the sit-down person that will sit down in the office. I want to, at the same time, be in practice. But it's now difficult for me. I've spent over 2 years in my department. I want to move forward, but I can't apply in my department to move forward because there are a lot of people. You understand the struggle. There are a lot of people ahead of me already, which we consider. Do you understand? So it's difficult. But if I go to another department, like to make that decision of growth is difficult in my organization and in my profession. So how do I decide what to do? I love money, I love leadership, and I love to practice.
So your question, if I get you, is how do you merge
this, make a decision, and start sourcing for what you need?
Okay. Who wants to answer that question? Can we go to Bragoke first?
So I think the best person to answer that question is Mr. Ephraim. Just saying. Because what I was telling you is drawn from his experience, really. He said he has a 3-year plan. So once 3 years is done, it's done. It's time to move. I think, but to answer your question would be, what are you really after? What exactly do you want? You need to define that first. When you define what you really want, the rest is easy. Because the moves you will take, only you understand why you are making those moves to get there. It's not anybody's business. But you need to define what you really want first. Then the next is a gap analysis. So I know what I want. This is where I am.
How do I get there?
Then you now start piecing to what Brother Solomon said. So the people that are there, how did they get there? Okay, this one first did Lagos. First did Lagos, Dubai, UK. This one did Lagos, South Africa, UK. So maybe my own is Lagos, Abuja, Ghana, UK. But you get what I'm trying to say. The key thing is first agree with yourself what you really, really want. Then assess, how do I get there? Sometimes it may take you out of your comfort zone, out of that leadership thing which you really want, out of that not sitting in the office which you really want. But remember, you are investing in yourself. And that is what you should focus on.
Thank you very much, Ragoke. I'll just get Brother Solomon to just answer that as well.
I mean, he said a lot of things, of course, that I was going to say. One of the things really that I had to sit down to do was, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Was to ask myself what exactly I wanted, which is what he's mentioned now. Like in nursing, there were many pathways I considered, including theater. I told you at one point now. But the challenge is I consider theater, ICU, even ED. You know my challenge with ICU and ED? The time is going to take for me to ever become band 6. Because there's a lot of people in the queue. Because you have to do some courses before they can even consider you, to climb. And that's a big challenge. Because by the time you are trying to become band 6, someone who went through the practitioner route has become band 8 within the same period of time. Because I have friends that we made move together the same year. Now they are running their courses, now they're band 7. And once they finish the band 7,
band 8.
Like they don't have to do any other interview or anything like that. Just because they took that particular pathway, they become band 8. And NHS pays for the courses. So it's like you're schooling free of charge and raising the bar for yourself.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. You've got to consider, what do I want, and what's the easiest path to get there. So that's what I would say, really.
Thank you so much, Solomon, and I hope that has answered your question. I think the only thing I wanted to add to that is sometimes, and I know that's within the context of the particular field that you are, but don't be afraid to actually pivot. As Brother Emmanuel also said, if it's not happening for you where you are, is there an opportunity for you to go to a different NHS trust? I know as a woman, there's so many things that we need to consider: childcare, how far it is from home. But in future, it's also an opportunity that if it's not working for me where I am, are there any other opportunities I can pivot to that still helps me achieve that purpose? So thank you for that. Any more questions? Okay, I think we're going to end it here. Thank you so much for everyone, and thank you to the panel for joining us today. Really appreciate it. We've got about 10 more minutes to go, and I just want to do a presentation on interview skills. So if anyone would like to wait for that, please do. But thank you very much.
Thank you.
Praise the Lord. Are we stopping the video, or are we continuing? Oh, we should continue. Okay. So this is going to be a quick one. It's probably going to be a 10-minute session. I'm just looking at a way to add flavor to this. And hello, everyone, if you're joining us on YouTube. I don't know if they can see me, because ideally I would like to look at that screen. Yeah? Okay. Thank you. So I just wanted to give a quick interview skills, because there's some people that they're probably just starting their career, or they're going through that process of interviewing. So I want to share some of my experiences with you. God has been so good to me when it comes to interviews. I haven't always been good at interviews. But before I start, I just want you to, how many people here have applied for a job in the last 6 months? 1 year? Okay, 1 year, thank you. And raise your hand if you actually enjoyed the interview process. You enjoyed the interview process? Oh, you enjoyed the interview process, that's good. Oh, the rest of us didn't enjoy the interview process, then I'll take it. I don't enjoy interview processes as well. And raise your hand, if you didn't get the job, did you get time to reflect on the interview process? Yeah? Thank you. Thank you. I want to share my experience of interview. I've never always been good at interview. So my very first interview was in 2008. And 2008, we all know what happened. It was a recession year. But I was fresh out of university, fine girl, no pimples. I wanted to impress. And I studied a course that kind of gave me, I thought I was going to be prime minister with my course. And the first interview that I attended, it was for Goldman Sachs at the time. So they were doing like a summer internship. I got there, zero preparation. I thought my qualification was going to get me there. I walked in, and the first question that the interviewer asked me was, how would you compare investment banking to Wimbledon? And if you know me, you know that I really love tennis. And I went blank, completely blank. I don't know what happened that day. And I tell you, this is the honest truth. I peed on myself in that interview. This was in 2008. I was so embarrassed that I just started getting nervous. I started sweating. I couldn't get a word out. And before I knew it, luckily the interviewer didn't see this, but I could see that something was coming out. And for a very long period, that trauma followed me for every interview that I went to. I never thought I was good enough for interviews. And I used to go into interviews thinking, this is the worst thing that could happen to me. Why do I have to go there? But in the last probably 6 years, my interview success rate has been 99.9999%. I've got to a stage whereby I'm rejecting jobs because I don't want it. And what has helped me in terms of my interview skills is, first of all, preparation. That time that I didn't know what I was doing in 2008, and I peed on myself, zero preparation. I really thought that my degree was going to get me a job in Goldman Sachs. That's not true. You actually need to do the job. You need to do the hard work that comes with going for interviews. So that's the first thing I want to mention. I think here at this junction as well, I wanted to share with you some unconventional interview tips. Some people may know this, some people may not know this, but this is just in my experience. And I have interviewed in some of the most difficult places that you can ever imagine. I've interviewed for the civil service. I've interviewed for even more things that are higher than the civil service. So when you talk about some of the toughest interviews in the UK, I've been there and I've passed it and I've got a T-shirt. I'm not working for them, but I've got that T-shirt. And some of the unconventional things that I've learned is, first is the 6 Ps. Anyone know what the 6 Ps is? Anyone heard about the 6 Ps? Prior preparation and planning prevents poor performance. That is fundamental to anything, not just interviews, but anything that you do. Prior preparation. So really understanding when you're going for an interview, research the organization, research their values, research their cultures, understand what is their mission and value statements. And this applies, it cuts across different industries. It's not just about the corporate organizations. It's also about nursing. It's also about civil engineering, because every organization has a mission statement. Every organization has values that they would like to continue to emphasize while you're working with them. And understanding that and understanding how you can add, how your experience reflect those values, what the gaps are in those values and how you can come in, and what you need to do to get there. So that's the first thing that you need to try and understand. The second thing under that preparation, and this was something that helped me. This was the first time that I actually saw that there was a turnaround in my interview skills. Is when you go there, try and understand what is the latest about this industry, about this organization in the media, both positive and negative. Just try and note that. What are they doing differently? What are some of the challenges? What are some of the, and the media, you know, it's always available. They will always say something, you know, journalists are just, that's their job. They will always say something about an industry, about an organization. Just note that. Note what they're doing. Note what those challenges are. The third thing that you need to try and you also need to do is to do a SWOT analysis. Anyone know what a SWOT analysis is? Yeah, strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats. Always do that for any organization that you're going into. Understand what are their strengths, what are they doing well, how are they ranked, what are their weaknesses, what are the opportunities that they're not currently exploring that you could come in and add value to, and what are the threats, what's going on in the external markets that they need to respond to. Just mentioning some of those things, it shows that you've actually done your homework and you know where you fit and you know how you can help them to grow. And the third thing that you need to do is arm yourself with very useful statistics about the organization. I recently attended an interview whereby, even though the information was, the CFO didn't want me to bring out the information, but I just said to him that you just wrote off 16 million pounds debt. And it's like, how do you know that? But that's because I've been able to go into the news and find out what they're doing. And the thing about statistics is it gives you credibility. It shows that you know what matters to them. And especially when people see numbers, regardless of what position that you're in, the senior managers, they always care about numbers. The chief executives, they always care about numbers. And knowing from day one that you actually care about those numbers as well, it's really going to help you when you come to, when you're interviewing. The third thing there that you need to know is, when you're interviewing, always check the LinkedIn profile of your interviewers or anything that they've done recently. We all like people that look like us, that speak our language, that they try to find out more about us. So look through their LinkedIn profile, look at what they're doing, what interests them, what they're passionate about. Even if they're not active on LinkedIn, try to see, do you have any friends in common? Who are they following on LinkedIn? Because that helps you, that gives you an understanding of who they are and what interests them, and you can always bring that into an interview session. The next unconventional tips that I want to give you is some acronyms that you can just, take with you and manipulate and use to your own advantage. The first acronym is STAR. So when answering questions, especially in the civil service, but most interviews, they always tell you to use a STAR approach. That's situation, task, action, and result. You can take that one bit further and then use the STAR, which is the double R at the end. That's the result and the reflection. So what did you do? What was the result? On reflection, what could you have done better? What worked? And how are you going to apply that next time? And that's why a lot of interviewers, they want to see that, do you have a growth mindset when you start working? Are you able to, do you have the self-awareness to be able to improve yourself? And that's where the reflection comes in. So I've said that you start to answer the questions, and then you use a story to structure your answer. We all like stories, don't we? Like my story about the Goldman Sachs and about how, I didn't do myself well. We all like to get into other people's world and use stories when you're crafting your responses. What happened? How did it happen? What was the conflict? What was the resolution? What's the beginning? What's the middle? What's the end? Always try to structure your answers in that way that can help the interviewer to position themselves where you are. The next acronym that I'm going to bring to you is the BUST acronym. And BUST acronym, it stands for benchmarking. So when you're talking about a project that you're doing, how did you benchmark it? How did you get other people to understand what you were doing? What resistance did you come across? How did you seek for support? And that's what the S is. And the T is, what are your takeaways from that particular project? And that, again, shows that you are flexible, you are agile in terms of your approach. So if you met resistance, how did you overcome that resistance? And it shows people that you also know, it shows your interviewer that you also know how to triangulate. So that's the BUST acronym, and that helps you to analyze the question. The fourth thing under that is your ruler. And you use your ruler to bring the interviewer in. Your ruler is really around your emotional intelligence. So that's real understanding. What's your awareness? How are you bringing people in? How are you, what's their previous position? What's their perspective? So that's what ruler is standing for. So those are my quick interview tips in terms of when you go to an interview, how we can help you, how those two broad pieces of advice has also helped me to ensure that I continue to be successful in my interview processes. But I also want to emphasize that interview is always a two-way process. When I was interviewing and not successful, I kept thinking I needed to get this job, but I wasn't thinking, what's my backup plan? If I don't get this job, what happens? And when you go into a job and you actually know what happens if you don't get that job, you answer the questions more truthfully. You answer the question with more credibility because you're not desperate for the job. And also, if you don't get a job, like I said, it's a two-way process. You also need to appreciate that, is this place even the right place for me? Am I going to grow here? What are their development opportunities? And if it's not right for you, it's not right for you. And one mistake that I made at the beginning of my career, and at my first interview, was I kept thinking, these people they must want me. I never thought, do I actually want to work here? Does this align with my passions and my interests and what I would like to do and my areas of strength? So that's another thing that has helped me. And then finally is when going to interviews, we always have to, and Sister Shade mentioned that, about being confident, about trusting who you are. I got to a stage whereby it wasn't until I started using interview as a growth opportunity that I started passing interviews. I used to go to interviews to understand what are the gaps in my current knowledge. What are they looking for in this industry that I don't feel I'm comfortable with? I am not going to know that sitting in my current role. So I started applying for 2 roles above me. As long as I get the interview, I don't care about the job. I just want to know. I'm not saying this to them, but that's the mindset that I had. So that when it comes to the job that I actually really want, I am not so nervous that I need to get it. Because I already understand what are the gaps in my current knowledge. When I go back to my day job, I'm trying to address those gaps, as well as trying to learn new skills, trying to be ahead of the curve, trying to improve my knowledge in areas whereby I feel like, I stumbled. Even if I do pass the interview, one thing I always ask the interviewers to give me is a feedback. I want a thorough feedback, and I would chase them down for that feedback. Because feedback is not just important when you're interviewing, it's actually important when you're working as well. And if you have a manager that is not giving you feedback, then you need to think carefully, do I want to be under this person? Because feedback helps you to grow. Feedback helps you to understand what are the gaps in your current knowledge. Feedback helps you to strengthen the areas that you're good at, but also to diminish your weaknesses. And finally, on reflection, I think one of the things that I'm most proud of that has helped me to really understand the winning formula for interviews is knowing that all things work together for good for those that love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. You may not pass this interview, but God has a purpose. God still has a purpose. At the beginning of my career, I used to think this is the end of it. If I don't get that job, that's the end of that. But now, I'm in the mindset whereby I know all things work together for good. Even if I don't get that interview, even if I don't get that job or pass the interview, God has something better in store for me. And that good thing is going to work in my favor. And I also trust that, the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. So if I don't pass today, I know that's not where God wants my steps to be. And that has been, it's been life-changing for me to just continue to build on that, continue to meditate on that, and continue to put that into perspective. And finally, I say here that, change is inevitable, but growth is optional. And why is that? Things around us are constantly changing. There's AI. Even, the city that we're in, buildings are going up, they're coming down all the time. But as an individual, we have to consider where do we want to be? How do we want to grow in the face of all these challenges? So I encourage you to do a self-assessment, especially when you're going to interviews, to understand, where am I? Where do I need to get to? And how can I get there? Thank you very much.
And the team a round of applause. Thank you so much, Sister Mo and the team. I was hoping to just close so that we can be on our way, but there's a question from online. I don't want to keep it to tomorrow, so I'll just quickly answer that one. It's a question for me. How do you negotiate your price when you are just starting a career in a field? So if you are watching online, how do you state your price if you're just starting? I think that is dependent on the market that you're applying. If you're applying in the UK, most of the salary range are online, so you have an idea. Well, I add a little premium to whatever I see online. I like to start from the highest and a little on top, because I like to bring my own value to the table. Like, this is why you should employ me and pay me this much. So, but you see most of the, the what they pay, the salary range online. So you can use that, and if you think you add more value than the entry level, you can add a little premium to that. You can ask anything. It's just that you have to be aware that some companies are price sensitive and would not necessarily want to take you if that position is well sought after by many other applicants. So it's just maintaining that balance, but it doesn't change any fact. If you feel like you're worth more than what they are willing to pay, just look for another company. There are a lot of options. I hope that answers that question. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming tonight. And for those joining online, thank you very much. If we can just be on our feet as we close tonight, let's thank God for the opportunity to listen to what we've heard, to the different speakers, to Uncle, Sister Mo, Brother Goke, Brother Emmanuel, Brother Solomon, and Sister Shade. Let's thank God for using them to speak to us. And I'm sure we have gained one or two things. Let's be grateful to God for the opportunity. Father, we thank you. We are grateful. As we go home, Lord, we ask that you go before us. You'll be with us. Let your presence guide us. Let your presence lead us. Let your presence protect us. In the name of Jesus, we give you all the praise, God. In Jesus' name we have prayed. Amen. Let's share the grace and fellowship. In the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ, the love of God, and the sweet fellowship of the Holy Spirit rest and abide with us now and forevermore. Amen. And surely his goodness and mercy shall follow us all the days of our lives as we dwell in the house of the Lord forever and ever. Amen. The Lord shall guide us continually unto the path of a flowing joy. It shall satisfy us. The Lord has anointed us as his very own. Therefore shall no foe stop us. The Lord is our strength and our source. So shall we be like a watered garden whose harvest never fail. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you.